MCPodcasting.
3, 2, 1.
What is happening, everyone, and welcome back to the greatest podcast you've never even heard of. It's MC Podcasting episode 143. What's happening, lad?
What is happening, mate? It's not like we haven't been talking for the last
Hour
hour and a half of it recording, but
First time in the same room in 8 months. Fuck me.
Yeah, well, we're social distancing, aren't we?
We're 2 meters away.
Yeah.
2 meters, almost.
Yeah, well,
almost touching our
yeah.
toes.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it?
It is weird.
Took
I
us
like
about
it. It's
a half
better,
an
though.
hour. Took us about a half an hour to set this up.
Yeah, they've actually put the fucking mics in.
I was going to say...
I still don't know how you done it, so...
neither do I. I was going to say just want to do Zoom now. You sit over there, I'll do Zoom over here. So this episode we're going to be doing a movie review. We're going to be doing obviously Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League. And for anyone who doesn't know what the crack of this here, it was released in 2017, wasn't it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
the
so-
actual Justice League was, yeah.
Directed by Zack Snyder, but he subsequently left because he wanted... Something happened and then it was finished by...
Joss Whedon. So, Zack Snyder's daughter passed away.
Okay. Oh, fuck, serious.
You don't know it? So,
I heard something personal, but
So-
didn't really know.
It was really bad. So, she committed suicide.
What?
And yeah, so she passed away, and I think that he left the project obviously because I mean you would need to, but I think if you really look deeper into it, Warner Brothers were probably looking to change anyway. Like they were probably looking to change the style of what they were going to do with this universe anyway. So for them, they went and got Joss Whedon to finish the thing. So from your perspective, you didn't see Batman vs Superman, the extended one,
No.
and you didn't watch the Justice League movie with Joss Whedon, so you're going into this with like a fresh perspective.
I've told you that I just feel really disconnected with the whole what DC were doing. I didn't like Man of Steel. I didn't like Batman vs Superman. And whenever Justice League came out, I wasn't excited for it. I think I would have went to see it, but a lot of people I knew just said it was bad.
Probably me included, yeah.
I thought you liked that one.
No, I didn't. Justice League, no. I like Batman vs Superman.
Oh, right. I thought you liked...
Joss Whedon's Justice League is a disaster.
So, obviously, fast forward, 2021. Why... Was he allowed to release his director's cut because the first one was so bad, or was there just like a petition online that kind of wanted people to see that? People wanted to see this.
Been the biggest thing that like it's been going on for so long, release the Snyder Cut, and it's one of these like fandom things that happens online, and a lot of the times studios don't really take notice of it. But I think they looked at it, and you can say they listened to the fans because they clearly did, but they also had a streaming service and HBO that they were launching, and if you think about it as well, like if this pandemic didn't happen, this movie wouldn't exist. Like it just wouldn't exist. They wouldn't have done this. So they were probably looking at it and just went, okay, we'll put more money into this. There is a call for fans to watch it.
Yeah.
Like Zack Snyder, like it's not that he had. I think he had a finished story as such, and he had shot a lot of the movie, but it wasn't the case that he had his whole movie sitting there. He went in, and I think there was about 80 million put into this.
On top of
what was before, and then there was a couple of reshoots. He shot a lot of new stuff, and there was a lot of stuff that was already shot. And then we got the 2021 version of the Justice League.
So before we get into our review of the Zack Snyder's Justice League, what was your opinion on the Joss Whedon one?
It was a mess. So for me, I like these type of movies, Marvel, DC, whatever it is. I always try to enjoy them. So like I'll always, sometimes I feel like they're written for me, you know what I mean? Like they're kind of right up my street. So I'll always try to give it a go. So there was probably periods of after the Justice League where I watched it, I went, maybe tried to justify it because I love these characters, but it is so clear that it's a mess. It's a mix of two different directors, and there's some scenes in the Justice League that it's almost like, it feels like they're just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit at all. And I think Joss Whedon I think he's took a lot of slack for what he done, but part of me just thinks as well, like he was brought in and told, right, there's a cut of this movie floating about. It's probably over 4 hours long. What we want is a 2-hour long movie. Put it together, and you've got such and such time to do it. And I think he probably done his best to put it together, but there were so many problems with the Justice League. Like Batman himself became like a joke character. Like he was just cracking jokes and stuff. The Flash oh my god, like the Flash in this one still cracks some jokes, but in this one, it was in Justice League, Joss Whedon version, it was just joke after joke after joke. Scenes were just completely cut out, moved everywhere. It just didn't work as a movie. Like even the villain was just a stereotypical nothing. We didn't hear anything about why he was doing it. So this movie, like obviously these characters are massive and fans love these characters, and they just didn't get the movie that they thought they were going to get.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard. The tone of the 2017 Justice League just didn't fit in that sort of DC universe, what they were trying to create after Man of Steel and after Batman versus Superman. So this one is 4 hours long, over 4 hours long. What was your opinion? You watched it twice, haven't you?
Yeah, I've seen it twice. So I got a lot out of this. So I'm trying to think of how to like articulate it, because it's such a difficult movie to actually review, because you kind of have to think. Well, I think on one hand, I feel lucky that I was able to see this version. Like that, like it's almost like you don't really get this. There's loads of stuff that people want re-released, and you don't really get this. And then on the other hand, you look at Zack Snyder and what happened to him in his personal life, and he didn't get to finish his movie. So you kind of go, I'm so glad he was able to make that. And maybe it's me. I read into a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of themes through this movie that's family based. And you look at the theme of Cyborg and his dad, and you look at the theme of how Wonder Woman replies to the Amazonians and their relationship, and then obviously we know about Batman and his family. And to me, I'm just like, well, Zack Snyder,
Flash and his dad,
Flash and his dad as well. Like the whole thing is family driven.
And is that something that wasn't in the
not really? No,
one?
It didn't. Those themes didn't come through as well. And because in the 2017 one, Cyborg is not really a character. You don't get any of his backstory. He's just there.
While in this one, he's one of the main ones.
One of the main guys.
Probably the main one, in terms of like the whole plan coming together.
For me to review the movie, it's like I can see those themes kind of shining through, and then you look at what happened to Zack Snyder, and you think, well, family. He's lost his daughter. Like he made it so important how important family is, and I was like, this is a much better film. And there are parts in this movie that are too long. You would take out the bit whenever the girls are singing when he's come back in the water is so cringe to me. And you like that wouldn't like you think take a scene like that, if that was getting into the cinema, that scene wouldn't be there.
Cut.
So it's like
the
how do you
ending
review this?
The ending as well.
Yeah, that epilogue. Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people who were fans of the whole universe love that part, like especially with that guy coming flying down. That's really important. But again, that wouldn't have been in the theatrical release, so we know that. So overall, and you enjoyed it?
Overall, I really, really enjoyed the movie, and I find it very difficult. Anyone who criticizes this, they come in and they can say things like, it's too long. There's some of the dialogue maybe is a bit off. There's a lot of CGI. There's slow motion all the time. I can go, you're right. But I'm taking it from the perspective of I'm comparing this to a garbage film.
Yes.
And then it's always going to be better. Mm-hmm. But what did you think overall?
That's what I was going to say to you. There's two ways of looking at this here. And for me, I think I'm glad I didn't watch that 2017 movie because I think I'm not saying I have a better perspective on this movie because if I watched that, then watched this, which I done afterwards in terms of I watched clips and comparing them, then I was like, that looks so bad compared. Like this one looks so much better.
Yeah.
So obviously I went into this here not knowing much about the 2017 movie. I didn't watch it the whole way. I watched it in parts. Yeah. It's broken into 5 parts. I watched each part one at a time. I think I watched part 2 and 3 together, but all the rest I watched it. Yeah. So first off, I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it, and I was giving you probably a running commentary while I watched it sometimes, like part by part. The first part I thought was completely bad, and I was like, okay, so in my head I've broken this film up into like 5 parts, that way. So the first part I thought was absolutely shite, to be fair. I just didn't like it. Didn't like the whole Amazon thing with that. I felt disjointed. I felt like this was a director who didn't want to cut out scenes. It didn't flow right. It was very chunky. As you said, the dialogue's bad. Too much slow motion. The CGI is shocking, I thought, for a massive movie like this. I don't know why it's so bad for. Like, I thought that this is the first part, by the way. I don't know how they could have released that knowing that it looks so poor. Why? I cannot fix. I don't know. Maybe it's Zack Snyder's theme, because I hated 300. I thought 300 looked so bad. Even to obviously it's got worse because obviously CGI's got better. So I never liked them movies. So for me, it doesn't look good. I think everything looks fake. Even sometime when Batman was talking and Superman was talking, I was like, are they CGI? I can't tell if they're CGI or real, not way. So I was off to a bad start.
Okay.
But all credit from the first part to the last part, it was really good.
Yeah.
It was really actually enjoyable. Like as you said, the characters were good. It was very dark, so it fitted the tone. Apart from Flash, he was a comical relief, but he wasn't that bad. He was just like now and again. Yeah, he was annoying after because it didn't fit certain scenes, but apart from that, it was fine. The dialogue was a bit wooden between the characters. I thought that again, it's my biggest problem with this movie is the problem that I have with the whole DC universe. I think they've trying to fast track movies. They're trying to shoehorn characters in who I don't care about yet. You know that way. So that's not a problem about this movie. This is the problem I have with the universe in its entirety. But like when you watch, you have Jeremy Irons as fucking Alfred. You have fucking Ben Affleck as Batman. Like just fucking great actors doing great performances. So yeah, it was good. The only thing I didn't like about it, and it's probably because I'm not a massive fan of this universe, I just felt like, so the main bad guy, I don't know any of their names, so apologize. The main bad guy he's talking to another bad guy, which seems like he's the big deal, and they're so close to getting like the anti-life. But why don't they help him out?
So I think they're so far away.
Okay, but why couldn't? Because he said it's here. Like there's a period where he says the anti-life's here. And he's like, is it? He's like, yeah. He's like, okay, come. Why doesn't he come? Because that's his whole deal. That guy he's talking to, he wants to get the anti-life. So I just feel like it's kind of like when you watch, like, I don't know, it's like when you watch an Avengers movie, but it's not an Avengers movie. So you have like a movie like Thor, and you're like, well, this isn't a big deal because all these other guys aren't in it. Yeah. That's why I felt this one, even though I felt like this was the end of the world, it didn't feel like the end of the world because even the bad guy didn't even care that much to come. If that makes sense.
Yeah, so for me, I kind of explain that away in the sense that, like, Stephen Wolf does this to so many worlds. Like, he destroys worlds, and Earth is the one that fought back. So Darkseid, but you think of how many worlds there are. Darkseid doesn't even know which world it was that fought back because they're doing this to thousands of planets. So, like, he's so far away, and what they were doing with the mother boxes, that would have opened a dimension for him to come. But then when the mother boxes got destroyed, he says he's going to have to come pretty much like the old-fashioned way as such. So he's going to have to find the planet and come. So he doesn't know how to get there. And then I think it's setting that up. Like Darkseid's like the Thanos.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
So, but obviously we're not going to see another Justice League probably.
No. Yeah.
So for me, this is Endgame. It's not meant to be.
Yeah.
But this is what it's meant to be. And I feel like it's like if you did Endgame without the fucking 30 other movies, you didn't build this up. So I felt like this was the climax of the DC universe, and I felt like there wasn't much build up to it. Even though this was 4 hours long, I wanted more almost. Maybe I wanted more movies in between to kind of build this up. I felt like they kind of, again, it's a problem I have with the DC universe. They're fast tracking this here. I don't care that much and I hate doing it. I hate comparing it to fucking Marvel and MCU, but you're going to do that. You're going to compare them to. You're going to compare these two. And when I do, I'm like, this falls so far short, but it could have been so much better.
So, and rather than Endgame for me, it's the first Avengers. If I'm going to compare it to anything, that's what it is. And
that's what it should have been. Yeah,
that's what it should have been.
Yeah.
But I think when you watch that with the knowledge that you're probably not going to get another one, and I hope I don't necessarily need another one, but I would like maybe like a graphic novel to come out just to conclude it, and then I could just read that if I want the story. And it's hard because I don't want to sound like I'm overly defending this because I like Zack Snyder and I like his movies, but I don't believe that he has a full grasp on all these characters. I don't think he particularly understands Superman that well. I don't think he's writing Batman to the point where this is the best Batman we're seeing, this is the best element of Superman, this is the best even Wonder Woman that he had an influence on. I think what he has done is he's made the characters better than how they were depicted in the Justice League movie, and he's made them, in the Justice League film, like Flash for example, he doesn't do anything. Like, he spends most of his time. So the one thing's in Joss Whedon's one is whenever they're, the end scene in this one is basically taking place in Chernobyl, where there's nothing really there, but for some reason there's a family living there, and Fleisch is getting rid of the families. He's saving the family, but that's all he really does. Whereas in this one, he actually has things to do. Like, he's a main player. Cyborg is a main player. Like, it isn't all about Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman. Like, the other characters, Aquaman does things in this. Whereas in the other films, it's almost like they're just there, and it's really just a thing. And I thought Superman, Superman's a tough character. Like, Superman's a really, really hard character to write.
It's so hard because he's so good.
Yeah, you have to make him almost like he's very similar to Captain America in the sense that he's so good, but he's also, the difference there is he's literally infallible. Like, he's perfect to the point where for Superman, you have to make it's all about themes. Like, Superman should be about, and what I really loved about especially the extended cut of Batman vs Superman, is that what they make that movie about is, okay, Superman being here has changed how we view the world. You think about it, like, if there's a Superman exists, it changes how we view religion, science, everything we know about the world. I think some people already feel so, like, insignificant in the world. How do you feel now knowing that there's actually a God man walking about? Like, you're even less significant. Yeah. So to make a Superman good, you have to make it about the themes of the fact that there's a Superman that exists. And I think Batman vs Superman, particularly extended, got done a good job of, like, politically and how that impacts. But I don't necessarily think Zack Snyder knows the character brilliantly well. Like, he's very moody and gloomy. Superman's not, like, even in Man of Steel, which I really, really enjoy, he's not the Superman that you kind of read about, because he's kind of like, why are you so miserable? He's just a really, like, he does all these things. I'm like, smile, like, but I don't think Zack Snyder has a monopoly on these characters. Like he knows Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, and he has to be the gatekeeper of this universe. Some people believe that, fair enough. I'm not really in that boat. I'm just happy he was able to make his movie.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the best Batman. Yeah. I think Ben Affleck has done a really good job, and I always wanted Ben Affleck to be Batman, just in a Batman universe. I feel like we're seeing Batman in the Justice League universe, for people who are Justice League fans probably think that doesn't make sense, but I want to see Batman in Gotham, which is like with the Joker and things like that there. Yeah. Batman is so weird because Batman's just a human. Mm-hmm. He's not a Superman. He's not an alien. He's not fucking he's not fucking Captain America. Oh shit. He's just a normal human. Mm-hmm. So when he fights other humans, it's kind of like, oh, he could literally get beat. When you see Superman fight anyone else, it's kind of like, he's not going to get beat. Yeah. Even when like Batman beat him in Batman vs Superman, I was like, how did you think it didn't feel right? I felt like Superman should easily win this, and that's why I didn't feel there was much consequence in this movie, because you knew once he came back, it was a-okay. Everything was fine. It was relaxed. So I feel like even though the repercussions of Steppenwolf winning was obviously the destruction of the world and universe and all too, I didn't feel like that. Yeah. I didn't feel much weight. There was a scene which I thought they fucked up big time. It's the scene where he does win, and then spoilers obviously.
Yes, whole thing.
Yeah. And Flash is able to go so fast to go back in time.
Yep.
That should have been like, we should have seen the Earth for like 5 minutes destroyed. We should have seen the repercussions of them losing to actually understand how important it was for them to win. We didn't really. They lost within 10 seconds. It was back to normal. Yeah. You're like, we should have dragged that out. We should have. That scene was really good. I was really tense watching that. Like, this is really, really good. But then you knew Flash. Maybe I've heard someone tell me that Flash goes back in time and can change reality or change the time. So I kind of knew that was going to happen straight away. Once he started running, I'm like, I just wanted a wee bit longer. Yeah. Just like an extra 5 minutes, just to see like what would have happened. Like the Earth being destroyed, all humanity being destroyed. What was the repercussions? We didn't get to see that. So I'm like, all right, we were always going to win. That's what it felt like watching. I was like, no, we're always going to win. Once Superman came, we're always going to win, even though they didn't win for a split second.
So,
you have someone can go back in time. It's not really, as we talked about in the Avengers, like, kind of nothing's really. There's no consequence. Yeah, there's no stakes. There's no consequence anymore.
Like, I guess, like, if you are comparing the bad guy in this to Joss Whedon's one, so you didn't get anything in the Joss Whedon's one.
completely different looking as well.
Yeah,
he was like was he human?
No, he wasn't. He just didn't have he was smaller and he didn't have all that metal.
That was cool looking.
I like that. Yeah,
that was cool.
And the thing is as well, he in that version of the film, you didn't know why he was there, and in this one it gives you right. He has fallen out of favor with Darkseid, and he is trying to get back, or Darkseid, I think is how you actually pronounce it. But he is trying to get back in his good books, and you can kind of go right. I can see elements of why he's here and why he's doing this, but in the Justice League Joss Whedon one, there's none of it. There's no you're kind of right. Okay, so he's just the bad guy. Why is he the bad guy? Because he looks like the bad guy.
So I thought I missed something. So we don't know much about them. No. Okay, that's good. Because I thought, because with Thanos and all too, you're getting wee bits of stories throughout the Avengers. You're kind of building what's happening. I didn't know what was their reason. I kind of got he wanted redemption. They destroyed worlds. I got all that there. So that's all I needed to know. To be fair,
pretty much.
But yeah, you're right about if this was released in cinema, so many scenes would have been cut, especially the ending. It felt like it was going to be. It was like Return of the King, and then for me, it's like hurry up and end.
What did you think overall? What do you think of the idea of Superman being the bad guy?
That's class.
That's good.
I like that. But how are they going to do that? Is he going to? Is it? Was the idea? Does he turn, or is it a different Superman?
So and this is something that I think this movie failed at. So there's Lois Lane, for example, doesn't do anything in this film at all. She's never done.
She's important though, supposedly,
but she is supposed to be important, and that's the problem.
The key.
So and the reason being, so the rumors are apparently this is what was supposed to happen was that when Superman had died, Batman and Lois Lane got together.
Oh.
And then whenever Lois died, and I think the rumor may have been that the kid might be Bruce's, not Clark's.
Oh.
But then obviously Superman, Lois dies, and Lois is his connection to the world, if you know what I mean. She's important in the sense that whenever he comes back, he's not really the same. She does ground him. Yeah. She's the one that he can see, remembers her, and he's and then whenever
brings her back, brings him back,
and whenever she's not there anymore, you go okay.
And we saw that when he was fighting them all,
and then he just is bad as such. But I don't need to see that in a movie. I think I'm okay. It's basically Injustice is what it is. There's a comic run on it, but I don't think I need to necessarily see that movie. But I don't like that Joker either. I don't like the Jared Leto Joker. I think he's better in this epilogue, but I still just didn't really enjoy that much. But it was fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't know it was a dream until he woke up. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? So that's what I felt. This movie is not a great movie. So it's not a great movie. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I can see why people don't like it. I watched a few reviews. Mark Commode hated it. I'm like, yeah, I can see why you don't like it, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was fine. I thought it was good. I enjoyed watching it. I got a lot from it. But it was so disjointed in them things. The way that was a dream. First it was a long ass fucking dream to the point where is this real? I was like, I had to rewind it just to make sure I didn't miss something. I was like,
yeah.
Did it say 50 years down the line or something, and I missed that? No, fast forward. I was like, oh fuck. Shit like that there, that probably wouldn't have been in the movie. That would have been a deleted scene within the DVD you bought. No shit like that there. So I do think you're right. We're not seeing a true theatrical release.
It's a nod to fans, really, and it's the same as the Martial Manhunter bit. It's and I love that they tied that back to the Man of Steel, because that character's in Man of Steel, and he has some sort of a relationship with Lois, that Colonel knows Lois. So the fact that it was him that called in to see her kind of made sense. But part of me thinks as well, well, I mean, he could have done more. If he's here in this world. So Martian Manhunter is from Mars. Yeah. And he's very similar to Superman as such. He basically, I think those planets attacked or whatever. I'm not 100% sure, but he ended up on Earth. But he's a shapeshifter, so he can kind of turn into whatever. But that scene whenever he was in with Lois, surely Martha or Lois is going to bring up to Martha and be like, oh, thanks for calling. And Martha's like, I never got what?
I was thinking of it. I had to bring it up, and they didn't bring it up. I'm like, that's going to come up eventually in a weird conversation.
Thanks for calling the other day. You're like, I didn't call the other day. Or Martha just go, no problem.
So, but So this movie it's fine. It's just the problems with this movie isn't kind of solely on this movie. It's the whole setup, the whole production, the whole like. I don't know, like, because seriously,
Warner Brothers need to get their shit together.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think they're just so like they seen what Marvel was doing, like let's do that. And it's kind of like, all right, but Marvel and Disney, what they did, they fucking put years and years and years.
Even what they're doing now, I mean, we talked about like their TV shows that are coming out are just like they're different level of storytelling.
Yeah, even like Mandalorian for a Star Wars in the Star Wars universe, like that's just fucking different class. Probably the best thing we've seen since the original trilogy. And look at Falcon versus Winter Soldier, especially that last episode. Fuck me, like they're so good at it. But I think is it so? You know, like with Marvel, you have that one guy kind of doing it all. It's like one
Kevin Feige's oversees a lot of it.
Is there someone in the DCU
it's
universe?
Changed loads. So it has. So DC have changed,
and that's the problem. The one that's so disjointed. Like you look at something like Joker and the new Batman with Robert Pattinson. Like, just do them, or you're good at them movies. I mean, don't try to compete. Maybe
the problem as well is they haven't like, and I would say I'm probably more DC than Marvel, but I just like content, so I don't particularly have a flag in either side. But
you're judging DC, the whole thing, like the comic books, graphic novels.
But like with DC, like they haven't made Man of Steel, which I really, really, really like, right? In my opinion, they didn't make Man of Steel with the intention of expanding this universe. So they made Man of Steel and it was divisive. Whereas, like Marvel made Iron Man and it wasn't divisive. Like people loved Iron Man. Maybe some people didn't, but for the most part, it's like put up there as a great film. Whereas Man of Steel isn't. To me, it is, but
I didn't like it. Yeah, I didn't like it.
So a lot of the problem with first and foremost with Warner Brothers is they haven't made great movies. And that's something that they should have done. And then they made Man of Steel. And then they went, okay, people had a problem with all this death and destruction. We can expand this universe. And then they made that, which worked, because they made that the cause why Batman wanted to kill Superman, because look at what you've done. So that worked, but then they kind of gradually expanded, and next thing you know, it exploded. I just don't think they controlled it very well.
They didn't, no. And it was short-term gains rather than long-term gains.
And it made a lot of money.
Obviously, they've made money off it and they're happy enough. They probably wouldn't bring it back, take it all back, to be fair, but Batman vs Superman, that could have been a trilogy. You know, we could have seen Ben Affleck in his own trilogy, just Batman. We could have had Jared Leto playing Joker. I know you weren't a fan of that there, but we could have seen that. We've seen a bit more of a growth with Jared Leto as the Joker. A bit more. I know we've seen Batman. You know, we know his storyline. We know what happened. You know, his fucking mom and dad were fucking killed and shit. You know, we know that, but we don't know it with this Batman. I think we do need to see it. You know what I mean? Especially if you're not going to give any other sort of character development. Yeah. We're using what we know from previous Batmans to almost like kind of support Ben Affleck's Batman. But I think it's so different. Like Ben Affleck's Batman's so different than like the Christian Bale. You know, the Michael Keaton Batman. So I'm on board with Ben Affleck. I'm like, yes, I like this choice. I like where he's going. But you're not giving me anything to go with. Yeah. You're kind of almost like switching it over. I'm saying more Bruce Wayne than Batman. I remember in Batman vs Superman, I remember thinking that. I'm saying more Bruce Wayne. I don't want to see Bruce Wayne. I want to see Batman here. I want to see his struggle. And we got a wee bit of it there, and it could have been better. But again, it could have been a trilogy. But they didn't care. They just wanted to make a quick movie. I don't think they saw 10 years down the line. I don't think they ever saw that, like the way Marvel were doing it. Marvel were 10, 20 years down the line. I don't think Warner Brothers saw this.
Yeah.
I don't think they're that committed to it.
Yeah, but I think for me, what I look back on it now and I go, right, I've got a Man of Steel movie that I really enjoy. I've got a Batman vs Superman movie. If you watch the extended cut, there's a lot in there that I like. I've also got Wonder Woman. The first Wonder Woman movie is not a bad film for me. I think it's a good movie. I can enjoy that. And then we've got this version of the Justice League, which I enjoyed. So I'm looking at it as a whole and thinking, okay, this isn't bad. Overall, I got a lot out of these run of movies. So maybe it could be done better or whatever, but we're still always going to get content. And I think that Warner Brothers have moved on completely. They've made a Joker film. They're making a Batman movie. They're doing their own thing now. And whether or not that's the right thing to do, it's fine. They're always going to make Batman movies. Like for the rest of the time, there will always be Batman movies.
that's the bad thing about this year. Warner Brothers do so much different movie. I know Disney do a lot of movies, but Disney have like almost a company within a company, the MCU Marvel, who are solely dedicated to releasing these movies. Warner Brothers aren't. Warner Brothers are trying to release the fucking next, like another thriller somewhere else that has nothing to do with like comic book movies or superheroes. So they're almost like, they don't really care. They're not giving this universe it's their complete attention, what it deserves. My problem with this year, you're right, we've got these movies and they're not bad movies. They're not. I didn't like Man of Steel. I didn't like Batman vs Superman, but they weren't completely bad. Like I liked them more than I liked Thor trilogy, apart from Thor Ragnarok and like Iron Man 2 and 3. You know what I mean? I can simply say these are better than them. I just think when you have Ben Affleck as Batman, Henry Cavill as Superman, you have Amy Adams in this year, you have fucking Jeremy Irons, you have these fucking great actors, and you just fucked it up for me. It's kind of like when I look back to the Star Wars trilogy, and I'm a Star Wars fan, and I still like that trilogy because I got something out of it. But you have like John Boyega, you have fucking like Adam Driver, you have these great fucking actors, and you fucked that up. Like you have probably the greatest, like right now, youngish actors, they're the greatest right now. Adam Driver is going to be the greatest actor on the planet. He probably is now. You know, that's how good he is. And you're going to look back and go, fuck that up. We fucked that up. You know what I mean? That's what annoys me about that trilogy. It should have been better. Not that it wasn't great or it wasn't good or whatever. It should have been better. And that's what the bad thing about this DCU universe. It's just like, it should have been better.
Yeah.
And that's my problem.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's a good comparison to Star Wars. I think the Star Wars, in my opinion, the quality of that trilogy is much worse overall. But you could also argue, like, look at how much extra bonus footage we got to see. Like, I'm really enjoying this DC element because there's an extended version of Batman vs Superman. There's an extended Justice League.
Like, a lot of people are saying they want to see J.J. Abrams his director's cut for Rise of Skywalker, because supposedly, like, what Palpatine was a clone in it, shit like that. There, but again, we will never get that.
No, never.
But we got the Zack Snyder's, and I think that's what we needed, to be fair. And I'm glad I watched this rather than the 2017. Yeah. But you know what I mean. So, but going forward with this here, like, do you think this is dead in the water?
Yeah,
now?
it's done. Dead. And I mean, fans are basically saying, let's get this, let's do the next one and what have you. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think they've moved on. I personally would like just to get a comic book. Like, for me, if they could put another graphic novel together and just conclude this story, I'll buy it. Yeah. I'll pay whatever for it, and I'll buy it, and I'll read it, and then that'll be it. And I think a lot of people probably would, and I think that's probably the market for it.
The only bad thing about this movie as well, the Zack Snyder's Justice League, it wasn't that great. You know what I mean? I think if this was fucking mind-blowing, like Joker level, like Avenger,
it hasn't gave them. They're not even thinking about it.
They're not like, I was okay.
Yeah,
but they invested over 80 million this year. How does that make money?
Idea.
How does that make money?
It's a streaming service.
So it's just basically
whoever's going to sign up. It's probably the same as Disney Plus. Like, how's Falcon and the Winter Soldier making money as such? It's just whoever signs up to the streaming service. And I think with a streaming service like that, you need content. You always need new content because there's so many streaming services now. And look at Disney Plus. Disney Plus only has like 4 shows, but they're all amazing. They're all like top-notch shows, and on the back of one show, look at how many subscribers I got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you always need content. So I mean, they could put something else on streaming. I just don't see. The actors are older now. You have to remember, like, that movie that was shot 2015, 2016. So Ben Affleck's like 6 years older now. Henry Cavill's old. They've all moved on as such. So to get these guys back to do this again, I mean, you could, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
No, I think it's dead
in the water. And I'm happy enough. I've got a bit of conclusion from it, and I'm like, I'm happy enough.
Where do you think though DC is going to go in general? Do you think they're going to reboot it all, or do you think they're just going to kind of focus on what they're doing with Joker and Rob Patterson's Batman?
I think they've already moved on. They'll do the Batman movie, and they'll do, for me,
I think that's where they should focus on, because that's what they're
probably.
That's for me. We've had arguments before in the past. I think the Joker's better than anything Marvel's done, and that's just one movie. Like, they can focus on shit like that. They're realistic comic book movies and all too, but that's where I think they should go.
I just think, 100%. I mean, and they're good at making movies, and I thought the Joker was a really, really good film as well. For me, my whole thing with what they're going to do is, like, if they if they make a Batman movie like this Robert Pattinson one, and there's a really amazing character that we've not seen yet, maybe make a movie about that person. Like, let's do this a bit more organically. Let's just, for them, they probably just need to make this movie, put it out, let's see if it's good.
My biggest problem about the Joker and the new Batman movie we're going to get is that they're not thinking of sequels or trilogies, but as they...
You want them to?
I don't want them to. I don't want them to be reactionary. If you're going to do a trilogy, do a fucking trilogy. If you're not going... Because, you know yourself, a trilogy needs to set things up from the first episode to the third one. You can't just change it, because your character... It's like... That's probably... You hit the nail on the head with Man of Steel. They didn't expect this to be three more movies, so they didn't set anything up. That was a singular movie. Just enjoy that for what it is. But now we've got these other movies that are kind of connected, but nothing's carried across apart from the characters. So my biggest issue is that they do the Robert Pattinson movie and it's fucking successful, and it is going to be. It looks fucking amazing. I'm put my head. I think it will be amazing. I have so much confidence in Robert Pattinson recently. All his movies have been class. And they do a tile like a Joker with like Joaquin Phoenix with.
Do you really want that? I
don't want that.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's what I think they might do, because both of them are so
I don't
successful.
see how that fits at all. That Joker is pathetic.
But they'll do it because that Joker is like 30, like in the 70s, isn't it? Or 80s. So it's Rob Pattinson. That's 40 years later. So he's obviously older, a bit more like
intelligent.
Yeah, because he can gain intelligence in 40 years. Look at us.
But I just think with the Joker's a good movie. I would have loved. I think I would have really loved that movie if it wasn't called the Joker and there was no reference to Batman and it was just a guy.
I think that's what it's meant to be, wasn't it? Yeah. And they kind of just sort of throwing shoehorning. Next
thing you know, Batman's there. I'm like, right, well, I can't. I'm out of it a bit. But like, it's still really. He's so good in it, and it's so. But I'm like, the Joker. Can you imagine that Joker against Batman? Like, he's literally so unintelligent to the point where he's like a simpleton. And I'm like, but the Joker's a genius. The Joker's like a criminal mastermind.
Do you think he can become that?
I can't see it. Like, I'm like, put it like I say, right? You look at that Joker, and then the next movie you see him in, and he's like going toe to toe with Batman, outsmarting him. And then you look back at that first movie, and you would go, "This guy can't spell." I'm like, you'd literally be like, "Hi," you know what I mean? Yeah, you'd be like, "Hi." It doesn't fit.
But look at Bruce Wayne in the Joker. Is he a wee kid? He doesn't know shit.
I know, but
he's smarter than him.
Do you reckon he's like 40?
No, but you never know. I know.
It's just tough.
Unless they do like a sequel, because I know Todd Phillips said he wasn't going to do a sequel, but Joaquin Phoenix has basically came out and said he's happy enough to do one. So I think they'll do it. I don't want it, but I think they will do it. Unless they do a sequel where he is more intelligent.
Yeah.
And then
I just don't know how you bridge that gap. It's so tough because you've basically put a character out there, and the character works so well in this movie, but he doesn't work well against a crime fighting Batman. It doesn't work.
What also makes a good superhero sliced comic book movie is also like the character doesn't need to be that. The character, it's almost like the character sells itself, rather than you could have took that Joker away from it and just put someone else's name on it there. And it didn't need to be the Joker. Yeah. So you look at any sort of great comic book movie, it doesn't need to be like the character or the superhero doesn't really carry the movie. You know, even like something like Winter Soldier, like that there is like, but you take them characters away. That's literally about that could literally be a normal spy thriller and shit like that there. So I think that's what I think they're doing really well. These new like the Joker and the Rob Pattinson Batman, but I think they will cross over. I just think they will. I think that it's making them too much money. You will fucking see that movie cross that over.
Maybe. Listen, it might be class. Like, I can't say from the outside this is going to be absolutely shit. But for me, I if that happens, then my criticisms of the Joker movie become more prevalent. Yeah. Because then, you know, because anytime I criticize the Joker movie, and it's only based on the Batman aspect, everything else I think is class. But it's only based on that Batman aspect. Everyone's like, oh, but Batman's not really in it. Like, it's about him. I'm like, okay, but now I know he goes to fight Batman, so my criticisms make more sense. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But again, back to my point, if they made that, you will go and see it.
Of course you would.
Yeah. That's what they're thinking. That's what Warner Bros. Are thinking. So why wouldn't they do it? So I think that's going to happen.
They definitely didn't make that mind. Like,
that's my problem as well. Don't be reactionary. It's like anything. Don't react to things. Just do it because you want to do it. Like, do cross these two, because if you're going to cross them two over, well, to be fair, maybe now they'll put elements of Joker within the Rob Pattinson one if they're going to cross it over 10 years down the line or 5 years down the line, whatever. but they need to do it now. They can't just, oh, these two movies are successful, let's fucking combine them now, because they don't fit together.
Yeah.
Unless they have that in place and they make them fit together.
They make Batman like just
Stupid.
really stupid. Batman's just stupid. Right, we'll wrap us up.
Episode 143, boom.
Rob Patterson's like
An idiot walking around.
You are now listening to MC Podcasting.